I spotted one way up on the hillside.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, I'm Paul with Paul Winterman Outdoors. When we go to Colorado, we have a campground we stay at. It's called Elk Creek Campground. It's in Grand Lake, Colorado, which is right just outside of the gate on Rocky Mountain National Park. The first time we went there, we stopped at the office and the owner basically said, hey, we got plenty of camp spots, but we got a moose with some babies that are in the campground. If you want to go take some pictures, go shoot some pictures, and then you can come back to the office and we'll get you signed in, get you a camping spot. So anyway, we go take pictures of the moose. It was a cow with 2 calves. It's a pretty busy campground, so there's people all around and they're watching the moose and so forth. We were there for 5 days, and the 4th day we were there, they came down to a little pond which is in the campground. I actually just eased down there, sat down on the bank and was taking pictures of them, and we were filming. The cow and the calves got in the water and they were playing around and very comfortable with us. I mean, I was across the pond from them there in the water, so we had a pretty good distance. Of course, we got a Karen that comes driving up and starts screaming at us. I mean, drove her car right up on top of us, starts yelling at us and we're too close, and honestly, you can hear her slam the door to the car and you'll see the moose take off because she literally is disturbing them, like to the point that she ran them off, which is something you have to deal with. I'm very good about keeping our distance and paying attention to the wildlife and making sure that they're not getting irritated or bothered by us, and we pay attention to their demeanor. I mean, you can tell, especially with moose or elk, they'll lay their ears back if they're being disturbed and irritated. But we literally were with these moose for hours. And this lady comes up and ends up running them off on us. Well, a couple of stories while we were there. There was 2 different times that elderly ladies were walking their dogs and had actually gotten attacked by moose and got stomped, hospitalized. Both of them killed their animals. One of the ladies was in critical condition, so they are very protective of their young, even though these moose were around people and dogs in the campground. Later on, actually on our 5th day, my wife Julie was in the laundromat. She was doing laundry, and I had left her, was walking across the playground, going towards some cabins. Some guys had hollered at me, wanted to talk to me about photography. So I was going to walk over there. Well, I see the moose bedded down. There's kids in the playground, actually fairly close to them. I start taking a few pictures of them. I get up to walk toward these guys, and I saw a red fox come running out, come around the corner, and it stops and looks at the moose. The moose looks at the fox. She ends up standing up. The calves all stand up. The hair's bristled up on her back. Her ears are laid back. And the fox knew better, so it turned around and took off. So anyway, I walk over, I'm talking to these guys, and they're asking me about Nikon equipment and so forth. So all of a sudden I see the fox coming around the cabins. So I start taking pictures, and I said, tell the guys, I'm like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to follow this fox for a little bit because, it's just really pretty, and I want to spend some time and try to get some good pictures of it. So it takes off and it goes down toward the sidewalk. I didn't even pay attention to the moose because they were 75 to 100 yards away from where the fox was at this time. So I go out, I lay down on the ground, and I'm getting that perspective that I like. I'm taking pictures, and all of a sudden the fox takes off, and I hear hooves hitting the ground behind me. I turn around and look, and here comes this cow moose just running dead at me, ears laid back, and I was like, uh-oh. Jump up, grab my equipment, I take off running. She is right behind me. I get to a tree and I duck around the tree, and I'm running toward these guys who are sitting in their chairs at a campfire. I run past their vehicle, jump over the top of the fire, past them, and they all jump up. The moose comes running up and it stops at their vehicle and is staring at us. they jump up and they're going, "Oh my God, you know, just happened." And I was just adrenaline pumping, and I was like, yeah, she was after me. She stood there for a minute, and it was kind of a standoff. Everybody was standing there looking at her. I was getting ready to go in their cabin when I jumped the fire because, you know, she wasn't going to give up. So anyway, after that was over with, I talked to the guys for a minute, and I was like, well, I got to go tell my wife what just happened. So when I get to the laundromat, and I'm saying, hey, honey, you won't believe what just happened.
Okay, hang on. It's kind of scary, but before he said that, I'm like, you won't believe what happened to me. Like he said, I was in the laundry in the store doing laundry, and the door's right around the corner after you come into the main door. So I was waiting for my laundry to be done. I was like, well, I'm just gonna go around the corner and step outside. Well, I'm here because the door was open, the main door. So I hear this. So I'm like, what? So I go out, I start going out, and all of a sudden I see the head of that moose, I guess that attacked him, and it turns and looks at me and then starts heading. So I'm just like, I wasn't that far from where I'd come out of the laundry room. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like running to try to close the door stopper got stuck, so I'm trying to close that thing, and I'm slamming the door shut, and the moose head is like hitting the window, and I just was holding it closed, and it finally gave up and then just kept going down the sidewalk, and I'm like, oh, I just can't believe this happened to me. And then shortly after that, you come in and you're telling me our story.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, I guess that fox got that moose so fired up because, I mean, it literally, you can see the hair standing up on its back, its ears laid back. Well, then we go and we're talking to the owner
Right.
Of the campground, and right after, it came after Julie,
Yep.
They walked to the front of the building, and she had just closed up and was coming out, and she's got a big German Shepherd, and the moose come after her. So she runs back inside, closes the door, locks it, her and her dog, and waits till the moose finally wanders off.
She said it stayed there quite a while before, I don't know what scared the moose off. Probably because it was used to being in the campgrounds. I really don't know.
But that's one of those things you can't ever tell. I've spent my entire life following wildlife, and we've been taking pictures. I've been doing it for 25 years.
Yeah.
Julie's been with me for 13.
Yep.
We've had a lot of instances where, like, we had a bull buffalo that was being rambunctious, and two of them were fighting, and it come walking toward us, and you could tell its tail was up, and it just had that look in its eye. Unfortunately,
It was a smaller one, but it just was eating and staring at us, and we decided to go way around to avoid that one.
yeah. So, bottom line, if you're out there doing photography, or even if it's just observing the wildlife, make sure you keep a good distance and pay attention to their demeanor, because you can tell. That is the only time that I've ever actually been attacked. But it was also one of those times that the moose was so far away, I didn't think I was in any danger. As a matter of fact, I didn't give it a second thought, because it was 100 yards away.
And it's used to being around people, so we just didn't.
Well, it happens for whatever reason that day. I know it was because of the fox. It had
Yeah.
fired up, and it was agitated, and apparently anybody or anything that come around, it was going to be aggressive towards. So.
And it picked us.
Basically end of story. We got a little bit of video of the moose. I've got video of it in the pond when I was taking pictures of it, and you can see it. It's pretty neat. They're in the water feeding with the calves, and they're being a little rambunctious and playing and so forth. So you guys enjoy, and if you would,
Please subscribe.
like, follow, subscribe.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
I think they stay in the campground all the time.
Okay, you can see that the baby moose looks over, then the mama looks over, and here's the fox. They kind of have to stare down, and the fox turns around and takes off. I walk around the building, here it is. Take a leak on the building, and it comes around. There it's going past the guys that I was talking to. And then right after that, I followed it out, laid down, and within a few minutes, there comes the moose charging me. Okay, thank you, everybody.